Hey everybody, this is my friend Wes White. I'm going to let Wes tell y'all about himself, but Wes is a pretty interesting community activist, I think. He's an educator. That goes with him pretty much wherever he goes. On his own dime and with no benefit to himself, but with total benefit to the community. He goes to as many public meetings as possible and records them and posts them online so people can at least not complain that they don't know what's going on in the community, because if they want to know what's going on in the community, they should go to Wes's YouTube channel. Wes also sat down with Priscilla last week for a story that she's working on about the homeless community, and I think Wes is going to do a little talk and then you guys can ask him questions, and I expect you to ask him questions. I'm going to stand up here with this butter knife and gesture at everybody. So, Wes, take it away.
Excellent. Hi, so my name is Wes White. I'm a Salinas resident. My grandparents actually grew up here too. Well, gosh, where to begin, right? You know, you see a lot of problems, right? I'm a substitute teacher, so I've done a lot of classes. I've been a lot of places. I grew up in Guam and Hawaii, so I'm kind of like a Pacific Islander in a lot of ways because my dad was in the Navy. Gosh, you see so much culture, you see so much wrong, and you know, as a teacher, you tell kids, or at least I do, kind of give you a bleak outlook, but you know, a lot of it turns out to be character, not the assignment you're doing. A lot of the day, it's about, you know, redirecting behavior. And you know, I started out going to the Salinas Elementary School District. There was a couple of principals and a special education director that were being wrongfully let go. You know, their contracts, so they're not union, and they were at will. But they were really good, really good. So a lot of parents protested that. It was called Building a Better Board back in 2014. And, you know, over 200 parents came to that. And they said, you know, we love our principals, we love our special education director, and the administration and the board decided, that's nice, 200 parents, you pack the place, but we're still going to go ahead and get rid of those people. And you start realizing what you believed in isn't really what's happening. And then I started noticing the same thing happening in city council, where, I mean, you would think the power is with the people. That's where it's supposed to be. That's what you grow up in school learning. But, you know, you got to be careful because you've already been X'd out of the society. You didn't get born and raised with a silver spoon, and that's kind of what our democracy is still stuck at. We believe something that isn't really happening. So I started paying attention to city council meetings. Measure G was at that point. A couple of years ago, it's a penny tax, supposedly for public safety. But before that, they said streets, sidewalks, and trees. It's a general tax, so they don't have to spend a penny on anything. You know, they can do with it what they will. And so for a little while, I was wagging my finger at that videoing, you know, because he said, she said, but when you actually catch them in the act of saying, they can't deny it later. And that's the beauty of it, because there was no video recordings at the school board meetings. And so, you know, a lot of that translation was lost. And for a lot of other people to get it and figure out, yes or no, should I decide to back you and support you, or you're nonsense and it doesn't make any sense. And that was a big highlight, because they were violating a lot of Brown Act too. With this Measure G stuff, you know, it's money. It's not very much. It's kind of like you know, misspending. Okay, that's one thing. But in like September of 2015, they passed this storage of personal property on a city property ordinance. And in that, it just said anything and everything could be considered a bulky item, a soiled item. And basically, if you were too poor to afford rent and you lived on the street, then this ordinance gave them a blanket license to steal everything you have. And you already have next to nothing. So it's human rights. I mean, you need food, clothing, and shelter. And shelter is one of those key things you need. And it's just very painful because we don't really understand affordable housing, or maybe we understand it too well. When the storage of city property came out, at the same time they were closing the last vacant lot where there was over 65 people living in tents and somewhat in squalor, because what are you going to do? You know, we don't really redirect people well. See, and this goes back to the substituting, because there's plenty of teachers, there's so much politics in every single situation, but it's about caring about people. And what do you do? How do you redirect them? How do you make them do what you want them to do? Are you really interested in making them do what you say you want them to do? And how much are you willing to sacrifice to meet them halfway in doing that? That wasn't the case. I mean, as soon as they passed the storage of city property, they fenced off this last lot, which put everybody on the sidewalk, but yet you're not allowed to be on the sidewalk either. So here you are with this bingo board that's been checkerboarded out, and now the whole thing has been blacked out and where you're supposed to go. You're not allowed anywhere. And that was the point, you know, and it's so weird how there can be 2 or 3 different thrusts to the same sentence. But that's politics, right? And money is, of course, associated with that, because look, the police are getting paid, the administration is getting paid for writing it to make it the way it is, and the landscaping company is getting paid. So these other people are getting paid, people are suffering to be able to pay for that. You know, it's being paid for in human suffering in a lot of ways. Because if you get your stuff taken, it's going to take $150, $200 to even get back to having a tent with a little bit of clothes. And you're still going to live life. I mean, you need consistency. That's one of the biggest deals. So I fought in with this protest. Jose Casaneda was a council member at that time. And him and an attorney started a federal lawsuit. And from that lawsuit, we were able to overturn the ordinance. They repealed it and they put in a new one about 6 months later almost. From that, they said, yeah, we know we weren't doing due process and we were tearing everything and throwing it all in the garbage, and we didn't have anything worked out. So now we know we need to connect people with services. We'll post the sign, we'll connect people within 72 hours, and then we'll vacate the place. You know, because we know nobody wants services. That's the frustrating part. This is the circle of nonsense jargon. Of course people want help. People also want to be independent. But forcing people into a program that is very difficult to qualify for, it's setting people up for failure and then making a lie out of that statement, to be honest. So people had a new law. They had rights. So people would get posted, and nobody would show up. The nonprofit industry is well too overwhelmed. There's nowhere, even if they went out to connect people and they said yes, they've got nothing available to put them in. So what are you going to do? Be on a waiting list, but still go away. And it just never really even happened that way. So I would video when the cops would come and take everything away. And I'd say, hey, you know what? You want to come over to City Hall? Because they ain't done yet. They got to take care of the job. You know, let's camp in front of City Hall. We can do it. And that's kind of what happened. I ended up taking care of about 60 people, maybe. You know what? That is zenith, critical mass. Over 6 months, every day we were there. I'd drive and bring sleeping equipment, which was sleeping bags, pillows, blankets, and tents. And everybody had a set. I had to check them in, check them out. Took care of people, learned about people. And, you know, some of them were pretty good to take care of. Some of them were kind of glad to see them go, you know. But, you know, that's people, there's people. And it's, if your job as public service is to say what you mean and mean what you say, then follow through with that, you know. And that's all I was trying to do was get them to fulfill their own policy, their own law. So they're breaking their own law and ignoring it the whole time. So that was a hard thing. You know, we stayed for 6 months. We actually drew quite a bit of attention to the point that they shut it down. A month later, so that was like October of 2016 maybe. And a month later, they went into the shelter. You know, they had a shelter at the Women's Armory, and then they had it at All U.S. Bank or Sizzler on 20 Soledad. So it was kind of cool. You know, hey, cool. I don't have to do anything, and they're taken care of. Good. Luis Alejo got to be a supervisor at that point as well, and he brought it up as an agenda item when the temporary warming shelter was going to close. He brought it up 30 days before to see if we could extend it until the next warming season, make it somewhat of a year-round temporary shelter. Of course, a lot of people do not like people, and if you don't have money to give them, they really don't like you. And that is a disappointment in itself. So the Chamber of Commerce shows up, the Old Town City Center shows up, the mayor shows up. Council members in Salinas are on the board. Mayors from other cities are on the board of this TMZ board, this Transportation Agency of Monterey County, who owned the building that the shelter was operating in. Their grand decision was, we really don't like people. What are we doing? This is transportation. We shouldn't be having people in these buildings to begin with. So the original motion to have it extended until November was shot down. And then another motion was made to say, well, how about month to month? And that was shot down. And the mayor from King City pipes up and says, you know what? How about we do a 30-day drop-dead agreement? Because we don't really want them here, and we want to make sure that there's no more extensions, but we'll give you a chunk change of 30 days. But what really irritates me is the drop-dead part. You know, it's a technical term for contracts, you know, drop-dead agreement, absolutely no way for renewing. But you couple that in the terms of how you're treating these people, and you start realizing how a lot of people really feel. And that is heartbreaking, because you wonder, how mature is the society? Are the people in control actually being responsible and considerate and kind, or are they exuding the values that we wish that we could be doing ourselves? And if they weren't doing it, would we be doing it? And that it hurts a lot, you know, because these people are in power and they're supposed to be taken care of. And if they're not taken care of, they need to get out. Well, let me segue into that one. So I'm going to run for mayor because of that. A lot of people will not do the right thing. And you know, this is, all I really want to do is the same thing I do in class. Some kids really want to learn. Some kids are really interested. Some kids don't really care. They don't really know why they're there. And some kids are really jerky and just trying to push buttons and, you know, be the standout deviant. I don't like putting anybody in trouble. You know, the last thing I want to do is give a person away for all. I mean, there's distraction and disruption, and then there's a need for a consequence. And it takes a long time for me to start judging people like that. But some of these people got to go, and I'm going to be a crocodile hunter and train a swamp and see what happens. But you know, school boards, hospital boards, water boards, as well as city councils and county boards. Every single one of these entities is getting hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And the way that they spend it is more or less on themselves. I mean, the whole point of these organizations is for the end user, the student, the patient, the resident, not for the administration, not for their buddies who are going to get contracts. Because that is the whole point of public service, is you're in charge of money and how to delegate that money for the best use for your end user. You know, it should be your students and teachers and direct staff. Those are ones who are more important than the administration, but you see our lopsided wealth inequality. And who's in charge is not actually implementing what makes the money. So just recently, they passed this RV oversized, what do we call it? Oversized vehicles. And this is a flyer that I was passing out, RV to RV, and second row. Passing out, talk to everybody, trying to get them involved. It is very difficult because if you're a victim in a situation, you really don't want to be targeted. So, you know, this was trying to get people just even come and speak, you know, and tell their story and say, this is where I'm at, and I'm not doing anything wrong. My vehicle's registered, everything. You know, I mean, I'm already following the law as it is, and now this new word, this is going to make me illegal. Why do you tell people just follow the rules? You just can't follow the rules. But then why do you change the rules and make it that much harder for them to follow? You know, it's a vicious cycle. And then, of course, it's a setup for failure. So then we use them as a scapegoat, and then use them as a cash cow as well. Because we're making money by kicking them on the road. Because, like I said, the cops are getting paid, the landscaping is getting paid, the administration is getting paid, and that's what bothers me the most. You know, the city manager and the city attorney and the assistant city manager, between the three of them, they get over $750,000. 3 guys. And these are the kind of decisions they're making that are affecting people's lives and going to cause even more chaos in the future. Now on the backside is what I've really been trying to push for people is, it's called Cop Watch. I mean, you could also say you're a legal observer. And that's basically what you do. You video. That's the other thing is, for this flyer, I'm going to try to get another one probably tonight or tomorrow. The RV ordinance is going into effect on the 19th. And as well, the rodeo is coming, so everybody here has to leave. They have a posting for Wednesday morning, which if you're bored and you're really curious, you may want to show up about 7 o'clock around here. They'll be here in mass, the police and the Smith and Wright. It's a racket, but you know, how is this really a high priority? Out of everything in the world, you know, shootings, burglaries and stuff, and especially anything violent. This isn't violent. I mean, it's just people trying to exist. So what I've been trying to do in every encampment, I tell people, you know, you need to get up at least one person with a phone that can keep it charged with memory space to video, and just turn it on. Like I said, I mean, being there, you're already going to feel like more of a target. But you just tell them you're a legal observer. You don't even have to tell them your name or anything. You know, and being detained is another level. So, you know, that could become next, right? Well, now I'm detained, and now you have to tell me. Even before that point, you should arrive to say, am I free to leave? Okay, in this point, you would want to say, am I free to stay? Because look, I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm not doing anything illegal. You know, here it is. I'm also going to make another flyer for some little points of, you know, micromanagement. I have less than 400 square feet, which is pretty big. 20 by 20 is pretty big. So I'm hoping that that's not too little a space for some people. You know, everything's nice and neat and tidy. It looks pretty, you know, contained. And I'm doing all my drugs inside the tent, if I'm doing any at all. So I'm not doing anything illegal. You should leave me alone. You know, but you leave now. So I'm going to be making a card somewhat to that. Minimal standards of what, that's the thing, we've been confusing with any kind of rules. Because it doesn't matter how much, how little, how clean, how dirty. You know, the whole point is you're there and you're not paying rent, which means where's my shakedown money, which means I can play with you and pick on you. That hurts a lot. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. This week is a rodeo, and like I said, I'm making a new flyer. A lot of carnage, man. This is the county seat. You know, this is where the end of the rainbow is supposed to be, and our pot of gold is supposed to be, because you know the county can connect you with services that are available yet unattainable. And even when you get it attained, you find out it's really not very much. And you have to really sell your soul to do it, because 30, 40 hours a week to get $300 in a month, you know, looking for jobs, it just doesn't really make too much sense. So I don't know. I'm not sure how to end this well, but I'll open it for questions if anybody's interested. Oh yeah, let me give you a card too. It's John Doe13k. So for the last 4 years, I've been doing anything helpful and positive, civic, social, environmental, justice oriented, and so I go anywhere, everywhere, and what I end up doing is picking on the people who need to be called out. You know, I'm just observing more than anything, but I guess I'll give you one example. I ended up getting cops called on me because I was down in Greenfield School District for this chlorpyrifos resolution, and I got there and it says media in the back, all the way to the back of the room. Well, people are talking in the front and I want to get their face, not the back of their head. So, you know, before the meeting started, I say, hey, you know what, my name's Wes, I got a YouTube channel, and I want to video the thing. Would it be okay to be right here? And she's like, no, your place is in the back. And that was really smacked hard, so I had a visceral reaction, but I didn't say it, but it was certainly evident in my face. I was not happy. And I said, okay, well then, you know, I'd like to talk to your president. And that was it. And, you know, so it ended up being a little bit of animosity on both sides. I told him straight up I was going to be right there on the side so I can get people's face, and I made it very clear. And there was plenty of room. It said something about a fire hazard, something, you know, walkway. And there was a lady with a wheelchair right there, and she could make it by. There's plenty of room, but yet they still call the cops on me because I wanted to get people's face, which is really weird. I wasn't really interrupting anything else than that. But you know, it took 6 cops, and I stood my ground, and you know, they went home. We got to stay for the whole thing. So, but then I also stayed in the back. I really did. But then the next one, they said I could do it, and they knew already. This Oasis Charter School thing, I've been following that, and you know, I haven't done anything. I listened for quite a bit of it and let it ride, but then I don't know. I've lashed out on them too. You know, I have a finger wagging attitude, but it's usually toward the ones who need it. I mean, you know. Like I said, I don't try to get people in trouble, but sometimes they ask for it. But John Doe13k is cool.
Can you tell us the story of the mayor? When you were talking to Linda about how she walked in the room and she was mistreated?
Okay, so yeah, so Linda was talking about the flagpole. So for 6 months, I talked a little bit about this protest in front of City Hall, and we called it the flagpole. And people would get there, you know, about, well, sometimes 2 in the afternoon. But I wouldn't have stuff out really until after 6 because that's the law. And well, we're sitting there, and the mayor's going by with his assistant city manager, and say, hey mayor, how about a meeting? And he says, sure, sometime. And as he walks a little bit further away, Linda was on the other side of the rotunda, and we're in the courtyard closer to the flagpole, and you know, she wasn't with us. So as they're walking by, she's standing right there, and he says to Jim, yeah, sure, sometime never. And she's like, what? What'd you just say? And of course, you know, they both, video camera, you know, again, because it's their real intentions that you're worried about. You're not worried about deniability, and that's all they care about. Yes, sir?
Yeah, so I got a question for you, which I want them to consider as well. So again, trying to kind of remove politics from like a teaching perspective, but there is a Sun interview where on his visit to the UK, Donald Trump was interviewed saying something, and I forget the context. Afterwards, he said this interview was fake news. There's a recording of the interview. What effect do you think is going to continue as people just don't trust media. Like if it's not a media source that they like, that they trust, if it's not conservatives with Fox or liberals with CNN, even with the video recording, people just don't believe it, they don't believe what's coming out. Somehow you course the answer. How does even having video there then affect what you're trying to do?
Okay, yeah, and I have been as objective as I can without being biased, which is in all these videos that I do. I don't claim a side, I don't put any kind of commentary on it. I just video the encounter from beginning to end. And I do try to remain as neutral in my words. But yeah, you end up in propaganda land eventually. Being objective, I guess, is the biggest deal. I mean, where's our integrity from the start? Because, that's where you're going to weld from.
Have you dealt with people telling you that you misreported them or put out like a soundbite that furthered what you were trying to say?
Quite honestly, the reason why I don't have those kind of context issues is because I just do the whole thing from beginning to end. And that actually is one of those saving graces. And that is why I video the whole thing, because I don't want a soundbite. I want to be able to investigate the whole thing. But then who has the mental capacity and time and attention to really delve into it? Which is, these are a lot more archived, but it's taken a while. Look, there was one from that Oasis Charter School. There was a parent who was totally in love with the executive director, getting her child's needs met, everything, and wouldn't believe the original complaining parent any of his stuff, because it got pitted, right? The board and the executive, they don't, I don't know what they're talking about, it's all garbage, right? Okay, I'm going to believe that person because I'm already loyal to that person. But as time wore on, she started questioning more, and by watching those board meetings, she started to get it. And then, okay, and then she flipped. And it's like, it's not a team play, it's about the integrity. For me, it is, and the truth, and honesty, and are you hurting people? I mean, if you don't want to help people, fine, but if you're going to hurt people, I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that there's something done about that. And all I did was just observe the Oasis for a few months, and as it went deeper and deeper, I started picking a side, sure, but I only went in there to observe, and I made that very clear even when I first showed up, because I actually know a couple of people, and I'm not, I'm not trying to be mean. But like I said, some people just ask to put themselves in trouble. What do you think?
So you got somebody here who's really digging into the trenches, who's going out there, getting stuff done. Y'all are journalists. Come up with questions, come on.
And keep in mind, he's doing this basically for no money. He gets no financial benefit. He's out in the community because somebody has to be out in the community.
All right, so homelessness is one of my sticks because it's human rights, and it goes back to being a teacher and a human on this planet, to be honest. You just want to see good things happen. But it's civic, dude. A large part of the civic, social, environmental justice oriented. We tried to do sanctuary city. That didn't go. What's really weird about that? You got the mayor, and you got 3 people on the right and 3 people on the left. Okay, the mayor and the 3 people on the right voted no for sanctuary city. The same for people also voted no for RV oversized, or yes for the RV oversized vehicle ban. And it's just kind of interesting how these the lower rungs get neglected and stepped on purpose, by this attitude that is pervasive. And it's the attitude that I'm going after, more than I'm not, it's not the people, it's like hating the sin, but not the sinner. You can stay, but your attitude's got to go. And those are a lot of those things that I'll redirect kids with, because you got to give more than half a chance. You got to give everybody more than half a chance.
Have you talked to those, like
Yeah, so the ones on the left is going to be Barrera and De La Rosa and Davis. And sure, no, I've talked to all of them. I mean, Vegas is probably the one that I have not really talked to very much, but everybody else I've basically talked to pretty good. As well as to be expected, or at least to know a little bit more about their character. And it's hard, because who makes the time? I mean, I'll be asking them questions they don't really want to answer.
As far as shelters, like I know there's ones in Hawaii, and then there's Dorothy's Kitchen. Which shelter do you go to first?
So a preferred one, is there a preferred one? You know, there's been a little bit of drama. So Dorothy's Kitchen and Women Alive is the same place. Dorothy's Kitchen during the day and Women Alive at night. There's also the Victory Mission, and that's for men. So Women Alive is only for women. And then the new addition is the warming shelter. The warming shelter started popping up in like 2013, 2014. And, you know, the mayor's a champion of the homeless because he did implement that, which in and of itself is not bad, but selling yourself as a champion while you do all these other things is what bothers me. The warming shelter now on Alice House Street is a very nice facility, and it takes men, women, and families. Apparently, lately it's been overrun with families, so now less men are allowed to be there because there's more families, and that I'm not sure, but I know it's a large building, and I would assume there's more capacity than they're letting on and pushing people out, especially guys. And I know a couple of them that really need to be indoors, and you know, because they got mental health issues, and you know, they need help, they need coddling, and really they do. So that's a concern. But the warming shelter on Alice House probably, yeah, the one a choice one to go.
And also, they said that when they said that there was like stabbings in that shelter. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. When we were in the community, she said it was like stabbings.
Oh, scabies. Yes, yeah, bedbugs type of deal. And certainly hygiene is always a main worry every day. I mean, because you have to disinfect everything every day, and you have to pay somebody to do that because unless they do it for free, which I doubt, not on a daily, consistent basis like that.
And how do you guys do prevention? Like, I know there's like a lot of how much help do you receive? Because I know that when they were mentioning that 2 days or something like the last year, they had somebody get taken out. Because I don't know why, and then I was mentioned, and then I said, why? I said, it was just on the streets, she said.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the same one. And yeah, no, he needs help. He needs, you know, just assistance. He doesn't need help, but he needs assistance, and he needs to be looked after. You know, because he couldn't even put up a tent. That's how much help he needed every day. He needed someone to put up the tent because he just couldn't do it. You know, he's in his 60s, and it's just that's where he's at. There's certainly people that need a lot of attention. Yes, sir?
Wes, what's going to happen to the ladies and gentlemen who are out here now on Wednesday? Once they get pushed out, where are they going to go?
They seem to be under the impression that they can go to the tables. I'm not sure if that's going to be...
These tables here?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to actually be the policy or not, but that's what it was last year. And, you know, these folks have been here, there's quite a few that are mainstays have been here since 2012, 2013, and earlier than that. So, and they're a community, they really do take care of each other, or you know, as much as a dysfunctional family does. But they cook meals and they eat together. You know, they try to take care of each other, which is really cool. And they're doing the same thing over there at the tables. You know, this is a really good group of people that are too poor to afford rent, but they don't want to be in Chinatown. You know, they won't set foot over there. They're not going to get any food over there. Chinatown's just one little neighborhood. So you think Dorothy's Kitchen is feeding everybody in Salinas? No. I mean, you know, there's a church around the corner that folks go to around here. And, you know, they go there for lunch. And 3 times a week, I think, we go and get stuff. But it's neighborhood driven, and that's why I go to all these encampments individually, because you can't just go to Chinatown and say, oh, I visited all the homeless. I mean, it's goofy. And so you start finding all these pockets of people, and they all need protection just the same way, you know, because Chinatown is in the spotlight, and everybody's going to know when that's getting swept, but how many people know this one? Only because you're next door and you paid attention and you were concerned. You know, a lot of life seems like it's about what's for dinner and when am I going to go to concert, and you know, how can I party and not do anything and still, you know, stay where I'm at. Our focus, our self-centered focus is what I got a problem with, and what I'm trying to push. Take care of people. Look, there's so much need in the world. So much potential. With all the money that we have, we have more than enough food. We have more than enough shelter. We have more than enough space. And it's just attitude about people and what's mine and not yours. Is it?
Wes, you're going to a lot of events, right? That there's not, you know, sometimes there won't be any reporters there from any of the local newspapers or, you know, news stations. I'm curious to, like, what effect you think that has. You know, news organizations don't have the capacity to you know, go there, and what if you're sick? You know, you're the one reporting.
Right. You know, I think I've been able to redirect the press quite a bit. When I was doing the protest, a month in, KSBW came over, and you know, and I've been misquoted, I've been underquoted, which is another reason for the camera, and I videoed that whole interview. But see, the interviewer comes, the interviewer's got a set, but the interview also has a thrust behind it that the editor says, get me this angle, you know, and because that's what we're reporting on. So for about 5 minutes, maybe a little more, I'm talking to Felix Cortez, and he, you know, he's asking me softball questions. Oh, how's it been? Oh, you like it? Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, more people. Oh, cool. And he says, so what do you think about the pee and poo around City Hall? Whoa, dude. I mean, you know, I ended up not giving him the soundbite he wanted, so he didn't air any of my stuff. And yet he aired the mayor's version, and of course that's what everybody's going to believe. So there's your propaganda right there, your soundbite, right? They've been coming around a lot more, you know? They've been realizing I'm onto something, and I'm onto something big. And it's not frivolous, it's not stupid, it's not gimmicky, it's real. And they know that. And you know, so I've befriended a few more anchor people because of that. But still, the ultimate thrust is going to be the perception that is going on the air. And I've certainly pushed a lot more interest. So nobody even was wearing a press badge before. But since I'm not really press, I wore a press badge. And then other real press started wearing a press badge too. So I've raised your game a little bit because of that, you know? Because people wouldn't take me serious, and then they see, oh shit, he's getting ahead.
So what's interesting to me about Wes, one of the things that's interesting to me about Wes is that he's found what his mission is, and he's working his mission. And so I think one thing we can all think about is, if Wes's mission is to cover the homeless community and do it in the way he's been doing it, what is your passion and what is your mission, and what could you be exploring, writing about, thinking about, talking about in the same way that Wes does it with homelessness? So, you know, I don't know if we can do a writing prompt on that, but
I think that's fine. I like that.
you know, figure out what your passion or interest is, and figure out how you can incorporate that into the work that you're trying to do.
I think that's something we could all, as the instructors here, talk to them about and talk about what our story that we want to ride on is. Because to some extent, I think, like, I'm kind of sifting mine out, but I assume y'all have been working for a while. Have yours, have your angle that you work on, or your passion. And maybe me and Carlos can kind of speak on, well, we're still figuring ours out, but we're trying to get there.
And the other thing that we could apply from what we learned last week is like, the story doesn't matter to you, it's not going to matter to the reader. The story obviously matters to Wes, like to a point where he's just so passionate about it. You know, he's going out there and he's breaking the rules and the conventions of what media is, and he's finding his niche with it. You know, that's a very powerful. It's a very powerful play, you know. And so for all y'all, just kind of apply that. Like, why does the story matter to me? And that'll make it important to you to read as well. And Wes is obviously is a great example of that.
I think it's also important to keep in mind that, you know, we're not going to have our passion very defined at 16 or 15 or 17. And people who have that are extremely exceptional. And I was by no means, and probably none of us were there when we were your age. And so if you don't feel like, oh my God, I'm not passionate about X or Y or Z, you know, you should not feel like there's anything wrong with anybody. You will find that passion as you go along. You like something and you want to discover more about it. And then you're like, oh, this is interesting. I want to keep finding about it. And that's how our passions get built, because you learn more about it, you become an expert eventually, and you know then you are good at it, and you know that's where your passions reside. And that's what happened to Wes and what happens to everyone. You keep at it for long enough.
Well, all I really want to do is just make people follow their own rules. You know, you say what you mean and mean what you say. And that was it. That's all I really wanted. You know, there's a lot going on in the Tri-County region if you're looking for passions. Monterey Bay Community Power is one of those things. It's all region-based. Major Z and fracking stuff is still pretty big, and we are a world leader in a lot of respects. And for Monterey County, following SMJ in San Benito County, I mean, saying no to fracking and winning and actually having it win. Of course, the oil industry is fighting back right now, and there's an appeal process going on. Well, 2/3 of it has been struck down. I've been following everything. I even go to Seaside and the Peninsula quite a bit, the other side of Lettuce Curtain, trying to make friends over there, and there is a big divide. You know, and I just like playing in all these different puddles of people, and everybody wants to stay in their own little tight-knit group, and that's their myopic view of the world. And you start realizing it's a lot bigger. And when you go to all these places, you start listening to what they have to say, and you know, you learn something every day. That's one of the biggest reasons I do this, because I can learn something. I go to all these places. It must be important. There must be something important for them to say, or else they wouldn't make an event about it. So, you know, I go to learn more than anything. When I was in high school, I was doing people or numbers, and when I went to college, I still couldn't decide. So I just did general ed. I could have done accounting, or I could have done psychology, and I guess in the end, I chose more psychology. You know, people are numbers, because people ended up mattering more to me. And that's just been follow through ever after. It's your passion should be taking care of people.
Anything else?
Anyone?
Well, good luck. I hope you get a name.
Let's get Wes a round of applause.